I should rather have risk in my life than regret. It was very, shocking for me to the kind of response that I got. So it was not based on my skills or my knowledge or my caliber. It was based on I'm a woman and I'm not allowed to travel internationally. If you have these kind of orthodox thinking, you should try to park them at home. Don't bring them to work.
Hello and welcome to the She Slays Leadership Talk presented by Health Shots. I'm your host Suchitra Rajendra. Today, we're delighted to have Nidhi Mittal, Group CEO, Blue Vector, ex-head of brand marketing, JioSaavn, as our esteemed guest. So welcome Nidhi Mittal, the Group CEO.
Thank you, Suchitra. It's my pleasure to be here.
Great. So Nidhi, you've had a long journey of over 20 years across various sectors. Could you tell us a bit more about it?
Sure. So first, thank you for declaring my age. But I think, Suchitra, I very often use this word when I talk about my career trajectory, which is, it's been a very unconventional one. So I think throughout my career, that's one thing that always stood out, that all the career choices that I made from the very start, when I was that confused kid around the block, thinking what needs to be done, somewhere in 90s and stuff, to then picking up the career choices that I took across, from having a very long career in the operations side of the world for almost a decade, and then suddenly taking a leap of faith to shifting my entire career trajectory to marketing and sales, right? It was a very bold move, I would say, and very unconventional in nature at that time, because when you're at a particular scale in your career, you only look to grow further in that domain. But then being a very, very creatively savvy person, I always wanted to do something in that. And I think that, when I asked myself, when do I want to do that? I think the immediate answer was now. And I took that leap of faith. And, been working around with brands in that area for a while now. Then there came a stage in my life, almost 4 or 5 months back, like we are sitting and you're asking about my career. But I think around 3 or 4 months back, that was the same question I was asking myself. That where do I want to go from here now? Okay, I'm into a new domain which I wanted, but what kind of work do I want to do? And then I again took a leap of faith. I decided to not go, after, like, let's say all the brand world that we usually look after. We want to work with the Googles and, let's say bigger brands in the world. And I decided to join an organization which is a very, very soulful place to be at, where I have a lot of freedom to do what I want to. And I think there is so much growth and appetite to grow actually. So I decided to then, take a complete jump again and land up into a startup world, let's say. So I think those are some of the choices which were largely complemented by the life I wanted to live in a personal space. And then obviously the kind of career that I wanted to build. So yeah, it's been a very, very interesting journey. And when I look back at it, I think it was a very calculated risk that I always took. And I always wanted to believe in one thing, that I should rather have risk in my life than regret. So, which I don't, at any stage of my life, if I go back, I don't think I'll pick up any part of my career and I say that I regretted this decision. It was it might have been a very big risk or very small in nature, but I'm happy where I am.
What a wonderful story. Yeah. Risk rather than regret. Absolutely. A great caption there.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And so as you took all these unconventional choices, what are some of the big lessons that you have learned, from the first part of your career to the complete jump shift and change in trajectory of your domain, of your function, etc. What are some of the life lessons?
I think we usually talk about saying that, there is no escape from hard work, but I think we are not living in those times now, right? You have to be really smart at what you're doing. And I think one thing that completely stood out throughout my life, and even in terms of career, is that you can't run away from accountability, right? Even if you're working at any level in an organization, or you're running your own business, right? Or even at your personal level, unless you have an accountability to what you do, you feel that responsibility and you're contributing to that, you will never scale up, So I think whatever roles I took throughout my career, when I was just a starter, person at a very, let's say, very executive level to kind of now at a, chief executive level, I think I've always taken accountability of my area, to the level that I can contribute. So that I think was something that really helped me scale up. Because what happens with that is that the people who are banking upon you, they don't see you at a task level, they see you as an individual level. They don't consider you that, okay, there is this report I have given to this person and it will get done. They look to you in a way that this is a business, I've given to this person and this person will contribute to my business in this capacity. So I think that was one of the most standout things, and I always try to do that wherever I get engaged in any capacity. And that's what I try to build in the people around me as well, that take this, I give you complete freedom with it to do, but then you have to take a whole soul responsibility of it. So I think that's very, very important.
Very true, being accountable. And I think every manager, every leader wants his team to be completely accountable for what they're doing. Now, coming to a little, your own journey as a woman leader, any lessons there or any challenges you have faced over this period of time, because you worked in very different domains.
Yeah.
So anything there?
Absolutely. Like women leadership is always a topic of debate. But when I was doing those roles in India, and I worked internationally as well, in US or Dubai or Australia, I didn't see those things at that time with that lens. I was always not very savvy with the idea of that there is any kind of a discrimination is a little hard word, but there is something happening if you are a woman. But now when I go back and see my career from a very larger holistic lens, I sometimes do realize and feel that a few things would not have happened to me because maybe I was a woman, right? So one thing which I felt somewhere always was there undercurrent was that there is a lot of preconceived notion, and that does not matter in what kind of a corporate setting you are in. It actually has to completely do with the individuals you are in, right? I mean, the individuals you are with. So there are a lot of preconceived notions around women. People will automatically think that this is something that you can do or not do, and they will just apply that to the ecosystem they're part of. And it comes from the upbringing or the culture that we belong to. I give you a very good example. Like when I was just starting off, within I think 2 years of my career, I had this huge chance to be in the Australia, travel to Australia for a while, and I had to be there for a business reason as well. There was some transfer of knowledge that needed to be done. And one of my leads was kind of not making it happen for me. And I've been a very vocal person. I reached out to him directly and asked them, why are you not letting this happen? And the answer he gave me was a very shocker at that time. I'm talking 19 years back. He said, I thought you're a girl and your family would not allow you to travel. And I was like, this can't be true. And I'm talking about an international company where you don't expect such things to happen. And I was very vocal in terms of my reverse answer to that as well, that if you have these kind of orthodox thinking, you should try to park them at home. Don't bring them to work. And I did so happen. Next year I did travel, but it was very shocking for me to the kind of response that I got. So it was not based on my skills or my knowledge or my caliber. It was based on I'm a woman and I'm not allowed to travel internationally. So yeah, so a lot of such things happen, and there's no system. We are the system. So I think it's just, and it could happen with a woman peer as well. It's not limited to the male fraternity that we're talking about. It could happen with your female peer as well, that they are doing some blocking in your careers because of the notions that they carry. So we should try to get away with that. We are living in a very different time now.
Yeah, I mean, it's great that you you answered back and you kind of called it out. I think a lot of the biases people don't even realize that they're carrying. You're so right. Preconceived biases, preconceived notions, things that are inherent from their culture, traditions. Going forward, how important is it, do you feel, as a woman, to network? And what are some of the strategies you would advise to the women leaders?
So that's a very good question, Suchitra, because I have realized that we as women or female fraternity, we don't really do a lot of networking, right? There might be different reasons for that, but sometimes we do shy away. And I've seen that happening within, let's say, my peer group or my team, or my friend circle. And I've been very pushy for them to do that. I think networking is extremely important. You don't have to, we kind of fancy this work with, some kind of a business objective that you go to an event, you have to make things happen for a particular reason. I don't see networking around that, I mean, by nature as well, I'm a very people's person. So it comes very, very naturally to me. But I think I look forward in terms of meeting new individuals who are coming from a completely different walk of life, right? They could be from a different culture altogether, different education or work. And I think everything we should look at from a lens of a little long term. So when I go to an event or I attend something, or I'm trying to meet somebody in a particular setup, I'm not going there with an objective that this is something that I'm trying to extract in that moment. I'm just trying to build a new connection, right? And I would want to see that maybe it could be something of a short-term gain for both of us, or it could be something that might happen with me after 10 years, right? Because we connected. And I think we already do that. The reason why are we on social media, Facebook or Insta or any other place? We are there to connect new people, right? That is the whole idea, that we kind of build our community, we network with more people. So what is the harm in doing that in a physical setup? So I think I would, in terms of advice, we already have these platforms. LinkedIn is a very good platform if you're looking for corporate networking. And LinkedIn has, like for me personally, it has helped me immensely in terms of finding new opportunities, finding new business, or just randomly connecting with people, right? So you should always try to utilize the social media platforms to your benefit as much as you want, and also look for physical setups, right? Do attend events of your choice, do attend, let's say, fest of your choice, but do make a presence and give your face a value. Because at the end of the day, what I'm doing right now requires a lot of footwork, and it requires a lot of, personal interaction. And I think it's more to do with, it's not more to do about the company, it's more to do about the trust they want to build with me. So networking helps you create a face value and a lot of, additional trust. So I think I'm all gung-ho for it, and everybody should be doing it. I understand there are introverts who are not very comfortable doing it. And to them, my only piece of advice used to be that just do it like a role, right? When you go to work 9 to 6, you're kind of in a role that you have to play. You can always switch off and come back and do what you really, really like. But do that as a role, because it might benefit you.
Great advice. And I like the fact that you said, don't go into networking thinking of an outcome. Go into it thinking, okay, this is a process of meeting interesting people, getting to know new connections, forming it, and not maybe at that point they may not be relevant, but who knows in the longer period of time, and then just building it over and over again through different media. You talk about social, physical, opportunities, and for the introverts, think of it as a role and just do it, right? When you've thought of your career now Group CEO, was this the path that you had defined for yourself, or and would it be the same path going back, or would it be something else?
So a little off track, my typical career choice was to be a radio jockey. So I would have actually been sitting there at your place doing this if I go back, and if I would have really picked my, my dream career choice. But in terms of coming back to what I'm doing, yes, I wanted to sort of more than the, let's say the designation per se. I think I wanted to be in that space where I know my capabilities now. I have developed them with so many years of being in the industry, and I know what I can do. So somebody giving me that entire ecosystem, right, and then trust that you are free to do, what you really want to. And I think that's exactly where I am right now. I have that entire freedom and autonomous environment where we have a clear goal that we want to achieve, and there's nobody kind of, after me all the time to achieve that, because they know that I will do it. So I think that was the highlight of when I picked this up, and that's what I would want to continue forever. That at least, after being so long in the industry, doing so much around, if people are still not able to acknowledge the capability, that's very, very important for every individual, that until and unless the people working with you or for you, they're able to acknowledge what you're good at and put you to work with that. That's exactly what we do in our homes and everywhere, right? We know that this is the talent of this individual, and we give that role to that person. Like if I have a driver, I won't be sitting on him every day to tell him how to drive. I have trusted him, I've given that role, my car is with him. So that's exactly I wanted to be, in that kind of a driver's seat, and I think I'm very, very fortunate to be in that right now.
So having your own car to drive,
at my own speed, with my own destination defined, and then further destinations.
Yeah, fantastic, yeah. But as we go along this journey, and as we take on more and more responsibilities and more accountabilities, larger impact, larger roles, at some point did you feel there is a mental health situation that is coming up? And if so, how did you manage that?
So, yeah, Suchitra, I think with the times that we are living in, it's no more even really a topic, right? It's all started off with being a topic of conversation, being a content piece around in the media, but it's actually happening. It's happening left, right, and center. Every second person that you're talking to is somewhere in that space. Even if we don't call it illness, we don't qualify it to that level, but everybody is struggling in some capacity or the other. Especially post-COVID, and the way the entire world just went for a rehaul. We were just in our houses. Imagine for 15-16 years you're used to getting up ready and being in an office, living that life, to then 3-4 years just being inside the house, trying to figure that out. So I think life changed for everybody, right? And a lot of things happened in my personal capacity as well, which really shook my whole world. So there was a lot of mental stress and trauma. I wouldn't even shy away from saying that. I was dealing through that. And at the same time, somehow, let's say fortunately or unfortunately, I was not even in a position to kind of take a break from my career. When I say fortunately, in a way that maybe that was a good thing, because if the work was not there, I might have landed into some other space. Unfortunate for a reason that, to answer your question now, that sometimes you are not in that mental space to kind of deal with the pressures, right? And what happens is, we do all say in organizations that, oh, we do understand about it, we do maybe mini events, campaigns and all that stuff, but I think the reality of the matter is that we are not equipped to handle it, right? Instead of accepting that this is our shortfall, that we do not understand somebody's space, we kind of put it on that individual. Oh, that individual is struggling, that is why, and thus these things are happening. But even if that individual is struggling, what are you doing as a leader, right? Or as a function? So I think there is this huge space which is there, and that's why there's so much of conversation has opened up. Otherwise, there are startups being run just for people to talk to somebody. So I think if whenever I was in a capacity, which I've been saying throughout, that I've been a very vocal person, I have never shied away from talking about a situation that I'm in. If I'm not feeling right, like when I was going through a very difficult time, I did mention to my team clearly that I might be having some mood swings, right? Because there are phases which are beyond my control. So just be wary of it. So they knew who I am actually, and what I'm doing right now is probably not completely me. Something might have triggered it. So I think if you keep that awareness around, people are more receptive, they're more understanding, rather than hiding it. Just don't hide it. It's a black hole. Don't enter there. So be open about it. 10 people you will talk to, maybe one will understand, but that one is enough. That's enough. You don't need, actually, I used to tell my one of my aunts that, for party you need a crowd, for conversation you just need a friend. So just be that way.
No, it's interesting you brought that up, saying, it's all around us now, and we need to really be talking more openly about it and addressing it, right? And being vulnerable and authentic actually makes other people believe in you also more, and then they can also share. They have a safe space to share their journey in this area, because if the leader's acting very closed off, then people are also not able to share so freely about what they are going through. So amazing, hats off to you that you're able to create that safe space and be vulnerable and authentic.
Yeah.
So now we're going to go to a slightly different pace,
okay,
called the rapid fire round.
Oh, okay.
And
me get up. Okay.
Yeah, gear up for that. Let's start with the superpower. If you could have any superpower, what would it be?
Okay, so I always wanted to have one, and that was being invisible. But I think not now. Now I just want to be like somebody, like a Star Trek kind of a power, that I blink my eye, I'm in Bali. I blink my eye, I'm in Maldives. So yeah, that's what I would want to, because I'm like craving to travel. And yeah, I just want to do that. So yeah.
Oh, what a fun skill to have, power to have rather. Skill. Okay, what is that one skill that you would love to have?
Love to have? I think I wanted to do a lot more cooking than I do. So I just would want that
Master
if I'm
chef.
Yeah, a bit more. So I don't really get a lot of time to do that as well. But yeah, I really enjoy. It's a it's like the biggest stress buster in the world. But yeah, I want to be more capable of doing that.
Okay. And if you had an autobiography, what would you call it?
She slays.
She slays. Okay,
she slayed. So
she slayed.
Yeah, what better word than that? So I have my title now.
Okay, great. That's fun. Then, what is one short-term goal that you would like?
Short-term is fitness. I think so. I have always been a fitness freak and a sports enthusiast, and for the past 2 years, there's this specific, let's say a weighing number or whatever, or a physique I'm trying to achieve. And I've not given up yet, but yeah, that's my immediate one, which I actually write it every day that I'll do it from tomorrow. I set up an alarm, but yeah, that's like something I would want that I start tomorrow.
Okay,
so, yeah.
That's your short term. Fitness. And long term?
Uh, I'm not a very materialistic kind of a person, but I did realize the value of having wealth. It gives you freedom. So there is this, some amount of wealth that I would want to just have so that I can be more free in life in terms of my choices. So yeah, that's what I'm trying to work on right now. Just have that ample amount of money.
Right, ample amount of money.
Yeah, like I said, like I said, it's not something that equates to your day-to-day purchases. It's not that, but we are in a time, right? So for survival, there is some amount of money that you really need, and the family that you have to cater to. So once you have that, it just gives you more freedom to do what you want. Like literally take a break for a year, and then do whatever.
Right.
So maybe don't even need that superpower. Actually travel. So
yeah, that's a luxury. So one leadership. Okay, what would you call your leadership style?
Adaptive. Yeah, I think it's very important. You might have developed something over a period of time as your way of working, your way of communicating or conducting yourself. But I think you can't stick to that, right? The whole world is changing at a very rapid pace. We are always talking about these new generations coming in and all that, So to stay relevant, you have to be very, very adaptive towards the changes that are happening around you, within you, and then, kind of progress through in your leadership style with that. Don't stick to something you probably created 20 years back because it might not be relevant now. So I'm very, very adapted. I'm very open to accepting what's happening around me, the individuals, the way they are changing and operating, and I just go with the flow. I'm like a water like that.
Okay, adaptive like water. Nice. Now, as we sign off, one book or movie that stayed with you and you would recommend to others?
Interestingly, I watch a lot of movies, so there's not any particular one movie. But then you just asked the question, and I don't know why, but Dil Chahta Hai just flashed in front of my eyes.
Oh, nice.
Because I think that was a much ahead of time movie in any case. And I just love to have that kind of, bond with people, which lasts long. So I think because I'm a very, like I said, I'm a very people's person. So I always cherished friendships a lot in my life. And that movie was one which was a good example for that.
Great. So thank you, Nidhi. It was really wonderful talking to you and learning from you and getting inspired from you.
Pleasure is all mine, Suchita.
Yeah,
thank you. Thank you so much.
To our viewers, stay tuned for more such engaging discussions in the She Slays Leadership Talk series. Until then, keep watching this space on Health Shots.